Hello and welcome to my face. So today I thought it would be fun. Oh, my glasses. Please excuse the darkness and the reflections on my glasses. It's a really dark and rainy day. So today I thought it would be fun to watch and recreate one of my first animated short films. So here we go. Oh, the music is copyrighted. Should I risk getting flagged? Wow, I didn't credit that copyrighted song at all. It was Love and Humility and Love by Christopher Young. I just want to make that clear. I don't want him to think I stole his music or something. Okay, so the backstory here is this was part of an Anijam, and the theme we decided on was surrealism. So if you're wondering what the heck just happened there, this was done entirely in Photoshop. Now you may be wondering, Photoshop? Shouldn't your school be teaching you how to use real animation programs? And the answer is yes. Yes, they should have. It's called The Sad Life of Toe because toe is short for mosquito. But if you look at it, he is clearly not a mosquito. He is some kind of wasp. So, don't know what I was thinking, but it doesn't matter. So my plan is to animate as much of it as I can in the next few days. I'm not going to redo the Rick Astley part because that's just rotoscoping, and if I try to do the same thing now, it'll just have the same results basically. Okay, so here we go. Hello and welcome to my voice. This time, I will not be doing this project entirely in Photoshop because, well, when I tried to open the original mega file, the document was so large that it took what felt like 5 minutes to open, and I don't want to do that again. Instead, I will be animating in Toon Boom Harmony using puppet animation. I talked a little about this in my How I Animate video, but I'll try to go more in depth here. I start by importing a picture of the character and plugging a transparency node into it to make it, well, transparent. 70% transparent to be exact. And then I locked this layer so I would be able to work underneath it without selecting it by accident. Next, I created drawing layers for each of the puppet parts. The head, the eye, the eyelid, the pupil, the antenna, so on and so forth. And then, with the charcoal texture, I begin drawing the head. I didn't want to use the circle tool because I think part of the charm of the original is how rough and sketchy it was, so I used the pen tool and drew an approximate circle and then made it look slightly nicer with the contour editor. At this point, I realized I forgot to make a color palette, so I went ahead and did that. After filling in the head with the appropriate color, I simply repeated this process with all the other layers, not worrying about the eyelid sticking out from the eyeball because we're going to apply some fancy nodes to it later. To make sure the pupil stays within the eyeball, you first have to split up the line art and the color art of the eyeball drawing so that you can slot the pupil in between them. Next, you will want to attach a cutter node to the pupil and plug the color art of the eyeball into it. This way, if the pupil moves outside of the eyeball whites, it gets cut off, hence the cutter node. Make sure the pupil is plugged into the composite between the eyeball's line art and color art, and voila! The pupil stays within the eyeball. This process is repeated with the eyelid, and later we will do something else fancy to it. At this point, I had to pause for a bit because my sister threw a paper airplane at me and it had a drawing of Mando and Baby Yoda, Grogu, on it, and I needed her to understand just how much it looks like the lemon from Adventure Time. You will notice that there is a green node above each drawing node. Those are the blue ones. These are the pegs. They act as handles of sorts for you to animate the drawing layers with. They can also act as grouping agents. Say you want to be able to select both eyes together. Simply attach both eyes to a single peg and now you can do just that. By default, the pivot point for each layer will be in the dead center of the screen, and we don't want that, so I adjusted them with the translate tool. Most of this puppet can stay as simple drawings because honestly, the animation isn't all that complex. But there are some parts that I want to be more flexible, such as the antenna, the eyelid, and the wings. This is where the deformers come in. Now I can animate the drawings to change their shapes without having to redraw the frames. And here I realized I forgot to draw his eye bags. Can't forget what it's like to be an exhausted animation student. Pegging hierarchy. Here you can see the selection of the puppet parts. Watch as it goes from the pupil to the eye to the eyes to the face to the head to the full body. This is the hierarchy of the pegs, or the order in which they're selected. This makes it easier to select the parts you want to animate. In this part, I realized I couldn't select both wings at the same time, so I went back in to add an extra peg connecting the wings together before it pegs up to the middle body, or the thorax if you want to get into scientific terms. The last thing I did in this puppet making session is group all the layers together and attach the group to its own main peg and composite. This makes it easier to copy and paste into other harmony scenes, and also it's just easier to look at. And now the puppet is done! I know that sounds like a whole complicated mess, but this puppet only took me about 30 minutes to build. In this case, it might not seem worth it to put so much trouble into making a puppet since it's only going to be in a video that's less than a minute long, but for larger projects, it's absolutely worth it to put the work in beforehand. The next step is to animate, which was strangely kind of hard because I'm used to doing snappy, quick animation, but Toe here moves very slow and dramatic like the sad mosquito he is. But the process is the same. I posed out the key poses, tweened those frames, added ease ins and ease outs, and offset the motion in certain parts of the puppet. Then I put the animation on 2s, or 12 frames per second, to mimic a hand-drawn feel, and just like that, the first shot is done. Well, the animation is done. I haven't drawn the background yet. And now, I would like to try a little something called predictive narration, where I will describe what I'm doing on screen despite the fact I haven't actually done it yet. This is because I don't know when I'll get another chance to record this month, and I really want to get this video done before Christmas. I'll probably be drawing the backgrounds in Photoshop and importing them into Harmony. In the past, I would have done all the compositing in After Effects, but now that I actually know how to do things in Harmony, rendering a video from Harmony and then importing that into After Effects and then importing that into Premiere seems like too much of a hassle. Hello, Future Emily here. I actually found some more time to record, and I'm here to say that I planned to import the background in as a vector layer, but I couldn't figure it out, so I just imported it as a bitmap and decided it was a problem for future me. Well, past future me, not current me, future me, you know, I just rolled the old narration. Anyway, the next shot is this simple shot of Toe landing on the street lamp. I will probably be adding legs to the puppet because I forgot to do that. And because the wings are moving much faster here, I will be drawing in some more extreme smeared wings. The shot after that, another easy shot. Blink. Done. The next shot, another easy one. Zoom in. Bam. Done. Future me again. I know I'm speeding through this narration, so I thought I'd slow down a little so you can watch me fumble around in Harmony. Here you can see me using the deformers on the eyelids to make a blink. And here I achieved the zoom not by scaling up the images, but by plugging in a camera node and, you know, zooming it into the scene. This better simulates the physics of a real zoom, where the closer something gets to the camera, the faster it'll appear to be moving. And as you can see, this was not the case with the original clip, which gets slower as the camera moves in. Now the problem I was encountering with the vector images, it only wants to import as grayscale, but I wanted it to be dark blue. At first I gave in and just imported in the cityscape as black, but then I realized if I created an entirely dark blue square and then have it be cut by the cityscape, I could have a dark blue cityscape. I'm sorry to any compositors out there watching this, I'm sure you're all cringing. You're all entitled to compensation, but trust me when I say you'll probably cringe more later. Now, back to the old narration. I predict the last shot will be the most difficult. I don't know how I could have composited so many Rick Astleys in Photoshop, but I know it must have been absolute hell. In the original, the zoom out is extremely jagged because I was manually resizing every single frame, and yes, it was terrible. But in Harmony, I can just animate the camera to zoom out in a smoother motion. And I also want to mention the puppet is built using vector lines, meaning it will retain its clarity no matter how far I zoom into it. So I won't have to worry about the drawings becoming blurry if I move the camera too close. However, the charcoal texture brush I used might look like pixel art up close, so please kindly ignore that. I will probably be able to composite the Rick Astleys in with Harmony, but if that doesn't work out, I'll have to use After Effects. Future Emily. So at first I tried importing the dancing Rick Astley in as a video file, but Harmony won't import videos with transparencies, and it just isn't the same if I import it with a white background and set it on multiply. I was about to give up and just use After Effects, but then I remembered I can import image sequences. So I imported Mr. Astley in as a PNG sequence, and behold, it worked. Now, compositing it wasn't hard, but it's very time consuming, and also you have to watch me struggle to make a hexagon grid. So anyway, I duplicated Rick until I had 19 of him and positioned them into their appropriate places in the hexagons. And then I had to create a cutter for all of them so they would stay inside the hexagons. Like I said, not hard, but time-consuming and annoying and also very ugly to look at because at some point I gave up trying to make it look pretty. See, at work, I tried to keep my harmony scenes as tidy as I could because the effects and compositing team have to go in after me to make the shot look fancy. But here, I'm the only one who's going to see this file, and if I don't care that it's messy, then it doesn't matter. And finally, the sound. The sound website I use, freesound.org, keeps a log of every sound I've ever downloaded, so I should be able to find the same effects I used. As for the music, I won't be changing Never Gonna Give You Up because, well, everyone knows I didn't write that, but I do feel very guilty for using Humility and Love by Christopher Young, so I'll be replacing that with a song from the YouTube audio library. I'm sorry, Mr. Young, please forgive me. And now, the final product. Oh, actually, before we go, I want to show you something cool. Ooh. Merry holidays!